Hello, welcome to Let Me Bore You to Sleep with me, Jason Newland, and this little fella who's with me on my lap, Vinnie Andre Newland. Is it Vinnie? Hello, Vinnie. So, the only way I can get him to stay on my lap is to give him treats, and I've got a big pile of treats just here. There you go. Otherwise he wouldn't want to be on here with me. He doesn't like me that much. So what's this? Look kisses. Do I get a kiss? No. Okay, a kiss. You'll get a kiss if there's food in your mouth for me to have. Yeah, okay. So, please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. Now, I don't normally do the Let Me Bore You to Sleep on video. It is also going to be a podcast. I'm using a microphone and the iPhone. Do you want another one? Another one? Aww. And, yeah. That's it, really. So today is it's Tuesday. I think is it the 20th of June? Not sure. Isn't he a cute little thing? Look at the camera. Look at that. What's that? What's that? Look. I'm trying to find a way that he'd actually enjoy just sitting on my lap and just stay here for the duration, just for the sake of it. But unless there's something in it for him, I don't think he wants to. And he's now just thinking, when's the next treat? When's the next treat? I can almost read his mind. Treat, 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 treat. That's it, isn't it? Got another one. There you go. So he has transformed my life quite a fair bit over the last 6 months that I've had him. Oh, what are you doing? So I've had him since the middle of December, and it's now in the middle of June. So that's 6 months, isn't it? June, July. June, July. Oh, you want to get down? Okay. All right then. No more treats then. Have a cup of tea. So December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So 6 months. It's gone pretty quick. Oh, a weird noise. I think what it was, the week I got him, it started to snow that week. And it snowed we had a whole week of snow. It wasn't snowing the whole week, but snow was on the ground for the whole week because it's very cold. And then in one day, it all thawed out. It rained and it just all gone. Apart from maybe a bit of snow in the fields, that seems to stay there for years. You ever go on a train and you go past a field and there's always like a bit of snow from 1974 still there. So don't give me hassle, mate. If you want to come get on my lap and be part of the podcast, then you can have as many treats as you want, as long as it don't amount to more than the treats I've got on the table. And I'm not doing myself any favours by saying the word treats. Oh, great, someone's using power tools. It's that time of year, power tool time. Lawnmower people down there constantly. It seems that everyone's cutting their lawns except the council. They're letting the grass grow so long. And normally it wouldn't bother me, but I'm now walking in the park And the long grass is quite difficult to walk on because it's got so long, literally up to my knees at times. And you might say, yeah, but you're only 2'4". Okay, that's not the point. That's not the point. It's just, you can't see what he's standing on. What he's standing on. And when I throw the ball, it gets lost in the grass. You can't see where it is because the ball's green, which is a really, really bad choice for a colour of a ball that you're chucking in a field or in a park with grass that's also green. Maybe a different colour of green, but they seem to meld together, kind of, from a distance. So, for some reason, they're just not cutting the grass. And I don't really know why. But I know one thing is, if he goes in the long grass, like he did the other day, the council started leaving strips of long grass. Even when they do cut the grass, they leave bits of long grass for something. It's some kind of environmental thing. I don't really understand it. But, you know, it's what they're doing. It's nothing to do with me, really, I guess. But Vinny loves going into the grass and pooing there. I'm mentioning his name just in case you think my neighbour's upstairs, you know. Could be a visitor. Like, when I say he likes to go in the grass and poo, like, are you talking about your dog or your neighbour? Or is your dad there? No, the dog. The dog. My dad doesn't do that anymore. So he basically, it's not easy to pick up the said squidgy brown stuff with the bag. I mean, I do use a bag now, so that's a step, a bit of progression on my side. But it's just, it's messy. Can you hear him? There you go. I'll just chuck him a tiny little treat and that'll keep him happy for about 12 seconds. It's weird. Yesterday, right, his friend, who's a giant dog, he's like 3-4 times bigger than he is. He's about 8 stone. So he's like the size of a 12-year-old boy. I say boy, girl, I don't know. But, I mean, I was only about 8.5 stone when I left school. I was 9. No, I wasn't. I left school at 15. I was 8.5 stone. I would have given anything to be the way I am now. Admittedly, I didn't have anything to give, but, you know, I would have said, yeah, I'll swap you my conkers. Or here's a book. You know, I didn't have a lot of stuff. I mean, don't really have much stuff when you're a kid, do you, really? I guess. I don't know. I had toys. I didn't really play with toys by then. I should play with my brother's toys. My brother was he 7? He was 8 years younger than me, so whatever that makes him. So when I was 15, he was what? 13? No. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. He was 5? No. 15, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Blimey, yeah, he was young, wasn't he? He was young. So he was 8 when I was 16. Obviously 8 and 8 is more than 12. So 7. He was 7 when I was 15. Because 8 and 8. I never did well with maths for some reason. Hard to believe, isn't it? I'm not sure a lot of people thought, like in the past, maybe you've watched me or listened to me and thought, he sounds a bit like a maths genius. Well, I got a rule in life: don't stutter, don't study anything I cannot spell. Ready? There you go. So I'd have given anything to be, because I've lost weight. I was 16 stone, which is, I don't know how many kilos. And then I was 16 stone, and I lost half a stone last year, and then I put it back on again. Can you hear all that banging? Bastards. It annoys me. It's just noise. People just... I wonder if they're even getting paid. I'm sure people, especially quite a few people, would volunteer just to make noise. Right, can you just go over there, go in someone's garden, here's a piece of wood and a hammer, and just hit the piece of wood for half an hour or an hour. Okay? Oh, can I please? Sure. Can I do it for 2 hours? I just love making noise. Yeah. It's the same thing with people that slam doors or let doors slam. I never understood that, because I just can't do it. I don't like the sound of doors slamming. I know I might sound a bit like an old grumpy old man, which I guess I am, but now the planes. I didn't give them permission to fly over here. So I've been thinking about what have I been thinking about the podcasts and the whole thing that I'm doing here, YouTube and stuff like that. And I've come to the conclusion, and I've discussed this a couple of times, a couple of recordings ago, that I think I'm just going to focus on doing the Let Me Bore You to Sleep podcasts, or recordings, videos, whatever you want to call them, because they're the ones that are listened to most, generally. I mean, there's the whisper ones seem to be fairly popular as well. But the Let Me Bore You to Sleep ones, they're the ones that I get most positive feedback over since I've been doing them for 5 years, and I've had quite a bit of positive feedback. And I was laying in bed earlier, stroking my left knee intimately. It's very, very, I've got a very, very sensitive left knee. It's like, that's nice. And I wasn't. I don't know, why did I say that? Very strange. I was in bed, just laying there. I was just laying. I was doing nothing but laying there. And I was listening to some classical music, which is not relevant to the story. And my left foot was facing towards the window. I mean, it's that's just not necessary to even mention that stuff. Anyway, my glasses are steamed up. They're messy. The lenses are just ruined now. I do have another pair of glasses exactly the same as this, identical, but I've never used. So same frame, same lens, everything. So I think it's time to put these away, to maybe hibernate them and start using the ones that I'll actually be able to see through. I can see through them, but they're just, when they get smudgy, that's what these are like now, like continuously smudgy. At least I hope it's the lenses, because if it isn't lenses, I'm in trouble. I really am. So, and look, red face. I've been catching the sun. God, it's proper hot. I tell you, I nearly burnt my hands the other day. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. It's... I don't sunbathe. And I don't sit in the sun. Because I'm not built for that. I don't have that. I don't have the skin ability to do that. But unlike last year, when, apart from when I was in the sun for a little bit, I was indoors most of the time. Because I didn't have Andre to take him out anymore, so I was kind of indoors a lot for most of the summer, kind of when I was here. But since December, I've been out 4, 5 or more times every day walking him, Vinnie. And it's been alright. I'm used to going out in all weathers now, being freezing cold and then not being cold, then being hot and wet, and just every single bit of weather has happened since I've had him. But there's been no volcanoes, but other than that, I know that technically that's not a weather, is it? But it's definitely a pain. It's definitely annoying, disruptive. I wonder if we have any volcanoes in England, on this land mass that I live on. I don't know. Might be one in Scotland or Wales. I'm really not sure. I don't think so. Is Ben Nevis a volcano? Oh. By the way, if you want to see what I will look like when I'm in my late 70s, go to Uncle Hubert, his YouTube channel. Now, he leaves messages on my YouTube videos. Go to his YouTube channel and look at the picture on his channel. And he's basically took a picture of me and aged me by about 25 years. 30 years, I don't know, I mean, blimey. But he's aged me. And I only realised recently, he's a very cheeky little monkey. He really is. And it's weird. We've known each other for 14 years now, and he's like my, I don't know what you got. James Bond and Spectre. He's like my arch enemy, who I get on with, kind of sometimes. I'm not even going to tell you some of the pictures that he sent to me. But they are funny, but at the same time, very wrong. And he was doing this long before AI was able to do it. So I don't know how he did it, if he was using Photoshop. And he was using technology a heck of a lot longer ago than it was available. So I don't know how he was doing it. I guess just really good at doing that stuff. I'm a bit scared about what he could do now with the new technology. I tried to deep fake my own voice yesterday because I have too much time on my hands, and I used this website called Lab 11 or 11 Labs, something like that. And I basically put my voice in 16 times, 16 different clips of my voice, and I still sounded American. So I was doing something wrong, because I clearly don't have an American accent. But according to that, I don't have an English accent because I'm not talking like this. And then I came home and discovered that there were zombies everywhere. And I thought to myself, this is going to disrupt my evening of entertainment, watching Netflix and eating pizza. But then one of the zombies came over and said, "It's okay. We also like pizza and watching Netflix. As long as we get to eat you afterwards. And we all laughed. So I don't talk like that. It's kind of... It's just like America. You got lots of different accents. Not every American accent. If you go by the movies, a lot of you feel like, oh, it's all Texan or Southern, or it's not. It's so many different accents in America. It's just like there's so many different accents in Scotland and England as well. It's just huge amounts. I mean, literally 26 miles away from here, they're talking. They talk like this. Say, oh, I'm going downtown. You going town? Oh. How are you? Are you well? Maybe quite not like that, but it's an accent. It's a real like tractor, and like just up the road from further up is I'm going on my harvest tractor. Oh, I'm going for a walk. You want to go for a walk? I'm going for a walk, which is very different from my accent. And I'm a southerner. And it's weird considering how tiny this country is. This landmass is. It's tiny compared to pretty much the rest of the world. I mean, it's literally minuscule. It seems big to me because I walk everywhere, apart from when I don't. But it is a very small land area compared to somewhere like America or Russia or China or Australia or Canada, or pretty much most other countries in the world. I don't think it's the smallest country in the world, but it's one of them. But we've also got a lot of people here. So I think it's 70 million. And there's no other country in the world that has this amount of people per area. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but no other country in the world, as far as I'm aware, has the population density compared to the landmass. That does make sense. Does it make sense? So, like, you got America, it's huge, but there's 360 million people in America. I hear it now it's called North America. So I think of America, I don't think of Mexico or Argentina, I don't know, whatever the different Lithuania, the different places near, or Canada. Is Canada North America as well? But it's Canada, it's a different country, isn't it? And it's bigger than America. Which I'd never quite understood. Because only 7 people live there. Very weird. I don't know where I get my facts from, but I'm believing everything I say. There's 360 million people, but the area of the United States of America is absolutely huge compared to this country. You could fit this country, Scotland and Wales, more than once over in some states of America. Now that's a lot. Again, I'm making it up, but it sounds like it could be true. So I'm sticking to it. I'm never going to change my opinion on that now. It is now... It's cemented. That's my belief. I believe it. Therefore, it must be true. So, it's a very small place. But the weird thing about it is, even though technically we're overcrowded, I walk around, I don't see anyone for hours. There's not a lot of people around. But if you go where the busy play places are, play places, not just places, but play places, They're, going to town, yeah, there's a lot more people there. If you go to a city, although technically where I live is a city now, I think, but I live in a village, there's more people. Christmas time, there's huge amounts. And then I'm sure if you go to Birmingham or not Clacton, what's that place? Manchester, Liverpool, places like that. Although they're not big, because we don't really have big. London's the only big city, and even London isn't particularly big, because we're a tiny country. But I've been to Liverpool, I've been to Manchester, I've been to Birmingham. I've been to most places actually, Nottingham. I've been to most places over the years, and I was excited to go to Manchester and Liverpool because I guess for anyone outside of, well, anyone in the world really of my age or older, Liverpool, Beatles, is outside of the place that I was living. Liverpool was somewhere that everyone knew about because of the Beatles, even though the Beatles had split up by the time I was born. My dad was a huge fan, so I was. When I went to live with him at 7, he had old 8-track tapes of the Beatles, which I reckon would be worth quite a bit of money now. But he loved the Beatles, so I kind of grew up from that age listening to them, and I guess I probably heard them on the radio previous to that. What else would be? I suppose there's a football team. It's a famous football team, Liverpool. I guess around the world. I don't really follow football, but I know that Liverpool is a big team. But when I went there weren't a lot happening. But then I went during. I was going to the Isle of Man. 3 women lived there. No joke, 3 women. At the time, this is 19 years ago. Wow. Went to Blackpool, and it was so windy. I was excited to go to Blackpool because I always thought, by the way, that's him chomping on a bone, if you want to know what the sound is in the background. I'm not. Well, I don't know what I would do to make that kind of sound. Click my fingernails together, I don't know. Trying to start a fire with a couple of sticks underneath the desk. Why would I do that when I got a lighter? Why would I start a fire under the desk? That would be probably the big question, really, wouldn't it? Not why would I use sticks instead of a lighter? So I was looking forward to going to Blackpool, not Liverpool, Blackpool, because I didn't think we were going to go to Liverpool. I didn't really know where we were going, because apparently we were supposed to go. I think we were supposed to go to Wales or something, and then they changed it because the weather was so bad, and it was hurricane, kind of just below hurricane level wind. So we stopped off at Blackpool, got an ice cream, popcorn, candy floss, stuff like that. Candy floss didn't last long, not even long enough to eat it. And it was weird because it landed on my nan's face, and yeah, she looked like she had a pink beard. So yeah, weird thing is my nan got stuck in the toilets, in the public toilets, because they had some kind of timer on them. So you put money in, and there was a timer, which I don't get in my mind, because how can you know how long it's going to be, how long you're going to take? And she got stuck in there. I hope she's all right. 19 years being in a toilet. We had to leave her because, we had a ferry to catch. So I I remember Blackpool being very, very windy and didn't really get to see a thing. I mean, literally, there was dust and sand and all kinds of crap blowing in my eyes, and I didn't have glasses on back then because my eyes worked. I was quite lucky. My eyes worked. Yum, yum, yum. And I remember, yeah, we went through Liverpool, but it was night time because our ferry left at 11 in the evening. And we literally just drove through Liverpool, but I don't think we even went through the city centre. We just to the ferry, wherever the ferry is. So I didn't really, although I went to Liverpool, didn't really get to see Liverpool. I didn't get to cross the Abbey Road. Is it Abbey Road Studios? The traffic crossing thing that's on the cover of their album. Didn't get to do that. I reckon people do that every day. It's got to be like a regular thing. I bet you people every day visit Liverpool and do that. I bet you. I don't know if it's true. I believe it's true. And then I went to Birmingham because I had like a long distance relationship, friendship, dating kind of thing going on. It was back in the day where you used to date on the phone, and it's like you could talk and transfer messages and talk live, and it was like dating. It was kind of I suppose like Tinder or Plenty of Fish, but on the phone, because it was just before. It wasn't before the internet, but it was before the internet was any good, really. So we're talking 98, 99 time. And I went up to Birmingham, and I remember meeting her. But I got to the train station, and I phoned her, and she said, "Oh, just come to my house." So I got a taxi to her house, and she had about 700 children, and she looked a bit like Pamela Anderson, like, and that's no lie. No, she did. She did look a bit like Pamela Anderson, quite similar. And she was about, I don't know, late 20s, probably 26, 27, something like that. I don't know, 25, 26. And while she was talking, we were in the living room just chatting, because we'd spoken to each other quite a lot. And then eventually I decided to go up to meet her because I liked her. She was nice. There's a lot of commotion outside the house. Like, oh, what's going on out there? And she said, oh, it's just the kids. But there was a bit of shouting, so I thought, oh, I was going to have a little look out the window. And some of her kids were chucking rocks at the opposite house. It's like, wow, this is quite a strange environment. But I don't know, it was weird. It didn't put me off, but I didn't stay. I didn't stay there. I was there and then I left. I mean, you have to leave eventually. But it was a short, considering the distance, because it took a few hours to get there from London. And I think it was a Sunday, because it was my day off, so I had to travel back. So I was only there for about an hour or 2 hours, which wasn't enough time to really do much. She didn't even have time to cook me a dinner. Or to moan at me. None of that boyfriend-girlfriend stuff. It just... Yeah, she wasn't even disappointed in me or anything. Like we weren't together long enough for her to get disappointed. It's a shame. Shut up. Why do people have to talk so loudly? Like they can't tell what the distance is between themselves and the other person. Maybe they're long-sighted. Is it long-sighted? Where they think the other person's like a mile away. Like, I'm just here. Not only can I hear you, there's elephants in Africa can hear you. Do they have elephants in Africa? I don't know. I've not been there. How would I know? How would I know? It's not the point. They have tigers, lions. I sometimes get a little bit confused between the animals in India and Africa. I know they're different countries, obviously. Well, I know Africa's not a country, but it's a landmass. But there's... I don't know. Crocodiles, alligators, but then you got elephants, bears, zebras. Don't you mean zebras? No, is correct. Its spelling is zebra. What else? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, lions and tigers. Now, I don't know. Ligers? There is a thing called a liger, isn't there? It's a mixture between a tiger and a lion and a tiger. I think when they, got drunk together and did the deed and gave birth to a liger rather than a tian. I was surprised at how big tigers are. I mean, lions are big, but tigers are just huge things. But so are lions. I mean, lions are big as well, but tigers... I think lions look bigger because of their big fluffy collar thing that they have going on. Like a duffel coat. You know, a big furry thing around the duffel coat, that, whatever. So that when they put that on themselves before they go out, it makes them look bigger, more hench. But you take that off and they're pretty skinny. They're pretty slim. But tigers... I don't know. I think tigers are bigger than lions, aren't they? But then you don't get tigers and lions together, do you? Don't generally. Do you have tigers in Africa? Yeah, you have tigers in Africa, but lions in India. Or tigers in India and lions in Africa. Something like that. Or both in both. I'm not emotionally invested in the truth of either of those sentences, I'll be honest. The truth isn't that important. I tell you what, I started to notice there's a lot more AI generated BS happening on Facebook. I was really surprised. I'm not surprised. I expected it to happen, but I didn't think it would be happening so soon. People posting stuff on there which is being lapped up, almost like just without question. Here's a picture of a baby tortoise, or a baby cockerel, or a baby whatever. And it's a beautiful picture with big colourful eyes, and it's clearly not a real picture, but it is beautiful. Well, I didn't know that. That crocodiles had such beautiful eyes when they were born. Big blue eyes, and they're born with a smile on their face, and they have a hat on, and they're wearing a dress. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know baby crocodiles were born wearing a dress, riding a bicycle. Wow, I didn't know that. Now I do. Me, 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 me. It's now in my memory forever, and it's now fact to me. I was like, what? I feel. Oh, Vinny's staring at me. I feel I need to double check everything now. I just want to go on. There is a way of searching and checking for images to see if they're made by AI. Now, I've got no issue with AI images because they're good for creating images. It's what they're for. But I'm not into the fake stuff, like the pretending that something is... I'll give an example. There was a picture on Facebook yesterday or today, and there was this man, a photographer, and he had about 700 cameras on him, like wrapped around his body, and like clearly that wasn't a real photograph. It might be an old photograph, it might be a photoshopped photograph that was made years ago, I don't know, because it's, with the time and the skill, people have been able to create stuff like that for a long time. But it did look real, it looked like a real photograph. It didn't look like a generated image. So I'm thinking AI. But something I would say, because I'm into AI, this is something that's really grabbed my attention and my interest. Piqued my interest. There is a lot of skill goes into producing AI images, because to get the best images you need to know the correct prompts, and there's a lot of learning involved in that. And the people that are making the best images are probably the designers, people that are already professional designers, because they know what they're looking for, they know what they want to do. Someone like me, I can make images. I've used a few different apps, but some of them come out okay. But it's a work in progress. And the one thing that AI image makers are not great at the moment is text. So if you wanted to make a sign, let's say I want to make a road sign in the middle of the ocean which says, please take your shoes off before entering, or I don't know, whatever. Please don't disturb Aquaman is sleeping, whatever it might be. Don't park here, whatever the silly sign might be, So you can get a road sign in the middle of the ocean that will do that, but it'll have gobbledygook words that doesn't make sense. No, there's no language. It's just a bunch of just blurry things. So it would mean adding your own text, I guess, which isn't that complicated, I know, but you can kind of see when a text has been added to something like that, the way I do it anyway. So yeah, I do find it very interesting. I do. I can't help it. It's the first time I've been interested in something like this, the way I am with this, since the internet started. And I got into website building. I was already into hypnosis before that. And I guess, I've been doing a podcasting for, I suppose, 2006, and I got into the podcast and making videos. But it's different from that. This is more just for the sake of interest. I'm not interested in AI for what I can do for any other reason other than just I'm interested in it. You know, I make the podcasts hopefully to help people to relax and maybe fall asleep and just let go of that, what's going on in your mind for a while. And even though from a first example of listening to me natter on, wow, 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 you might think, well, how is this even potentially a therapeutic or useful use of my time? You may think that, and you may be right. But it's quite subtle. And it seems to be that over time, there's something happens, something changes within you, and you feel more relaxed, and you feel calmer, maybe more positive, giving yourself a rest, maybe more sleepy. And then there's that connection with my voice and maybe with my funny face if you watch me on YouTube. And there's that thing going on, like, oh, it's that weird red-faced man from England. It's weird because my beard, well, it's like a beard goatee at the moment. It looks even whiter on my red face. It's not fair. It's actually dark. It's dark hair, but it looks white because I'm ultraviolet. So even though I don't look how white my arms are. Even though, look, I do go out with my arms open, my eyes open, so my arms can be seen. So you can see even there, look, difference between that and that. That's brown compared to that. But compared to there, I'm trying to flex my muscles, but there's nothing there, so I'll put them down. I do have... I used to have muscles. So... what was I saying? What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Being red. That's nice. I'm red all year round. I was born with this red face. I don't think I had a red face when I was a kid. It just produced it. It's like, yeah, brilliant. Thanks. Cheers. This is great. I think that's why the only women I can meet are ones that are colourblind. They can't see. They just think, oh, I just look normal. I don't realise that I'm literally radiating heat from my cheeks. That walk around with me in the night, pitch black, you can see around. I'm like a flash torch light thing. I'm not at all. I don't. Why am I saying stuff like that? It's almost like I'm putting myself down, but I'm not really, because I'm just telling the truth. There's no point hiding it, is there? No. You can't hide what is. If I stood up and said I'm slim, you could see clearly that I'm not. If I stood up next to 10 other people and told you that I was tall, you could see that clearly I'm not. If I took my glasses off and tried to read you the titles of the books on the bookcase opposite, I wouldn't be able to. That's not really... that is relevant to what I was saying. Like, if I said I don't need the glasses and you'd be able to see clearly that I do. See clearly that I do? Wow. So, even though I don't kind of mention about feeling relaxed and being calm and peaceful and all that stuff. Over the last 5 years and over 1,000 recordings of this podcast, the Let Me Bore You to Sleep, I've come to the conclusion that providing I do regular recordings, which I haven't been lately, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to give more, put more energy into doing it. I mean, it's a thing about, I'm not, if I make a video, then I don't like making videos, really. I don't mind making videos. I used to love making videos, but I don't, I'm not, if I look like Brad Pitt, I probably enjoy making videos, you know what I mean? But then I'd be getting excited, wouldn't I, looking at Brad Pitt? But, I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. But my intention is to keep making these recordings and try and do one every day. That's my intention. So, and I'm going to be focusing on the Let Me Bore You to Sleep podcast from now on. And I'll also be including other things with it. So I'll be talking about some news. The podcast episodes might be a little bit longer as well, because I'll be perhaps incorporating other things into it. Something I'd like to do. I'd like to talk about nice news stories. Do you know what I mean? Something, a nice news story. And not necessarily somebody saved someone's life who was, in trouble. Because even though that's a lovely story, which is a positive story, we're still focusing on a bad event, I quite like to find some really uplifting stories that don't involve a negative subject or illnesses or anything like that. It's just something uplifting in itself. I mean, maybe there isn't anything. There has to be. I mean, I've looked through the newspapers sometimes for the whole of the day and not found one out of about 10 newspapers, not found one positive story. And it's weird. I mean, maybe that they clearly are aiming at what people like, because they've been doing that for decades and decades. So they know more about what the population wants to read than I do. But I don't want to read it. I don't want to read the horrible negative stuff. I just had enough of that. I'd rather read about something funny or something silly or absurd, or even, I'm just thinking, I can't remember. I can't think of anything necessarily. Something funny would be nice. I like that. I like funny stories. So I'm going to have to search for that. Maybe if I set up my website properly, maybe, because I'm thinking about having a specific website just for this podcast. So maybe you could send me in stories if you find something online, or maybe something that's in your area, or something that's happened to you, that's uplifting, that's funny, that's interesting, or it doesn't have to be interesting, because this is a boring podcast. So, and I could read it out. So perhaps a little bit of involvement. I could read out messages on YouTube. I could read out, so you could leave messages on here. You could leave messages on my website. If you leave messages on the podcast, I might not see them because this podcast is on so many different podcast hosts, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, Luminosity. Is it Luminosity? Like so many different ones that I don't really have. I don't get informed when there's a message. But perhaps I could do something on my website, or maybe start a new website specifically just for this podcast. Or just have the jasonnewland.com just for this podcast. Maybe. As it is, that is the only podcast that's on there. So perhaps I'll do that. But I just thought maybe it'd be good to do a bit of interaction, a bit of, tell me some stuff and I can read it out. And just go from there, make it a bit more interactive, perhaps not, but perhaps, I don't know, it's just an idea. I'm not married to it. I just thought perhaps you might think it's a good way to direction to be travelling in. A bit of involvement, a bit of sharing and caring. It might be nice. It might. I don't know. Really don't know. As I said, I've used a different microphone for this. I hope it's okay. I hope it's okay for the podcast. I hope so. I really do. Let me know if it's awful sound or whatever. But I'm using a microphone that's attached to the phone. But this setup is really easy for me, which I like a lot. All my podcast stuff's over there. And I still edit, and I still have to, I've got the video, then I have to take the audio off the video in order to, to edit that and put it on the podcast, and then edit the video and upload that to YouTube. So it's still a fair bit of editing to do. But not a huge amount because I haven't got up. And the good thing about this is, if I cough or sneeze or someone's at the door or something like that, it doesn't really matter because I can just edit it out. Because I've got video editing software, so I can just do that, and it's easy to do. So yeah, we'll just see how it goes. On the video, I won't be using software to take away the pauses. So the one thing you won't be getting with this, unless there's been a break, someone's knocked at the door, so you might have me talking, and then it might be a break like that, so it'll be split. But there won't, because as far as I'm aware, a lot of YouTubers use this software. It's AI, and it takes away the pauses, which is why every sentence and every word continues, almost trips over each other. It's very fast. Now, I generally That's a bit of a long pause for effect there. I generally don't talk particularly fast. I mean, that's for two reasons. One is because this is a boring podcast aimed at helping you to relax and fall asleep and just let go and just chill out, whatever. And secondly is I don't talk fast. I just don't talk fast. I mean, there are times when I will get excited and, for example, someone, I'm trying to think. So a neighbour brought me a dinner round yesterday, cooked a dinner and gave me a plate of dinner, food. And I was excited and I said, "Oh, food, thanks." So, I was very excited and it came across probably a bit more excited than I am when I do these podcasts. But generally, or if someone asks me about the boxing, they say, "Did you watch the boxing last night?" And I said, and it's like a big night and I had a really good time watching it. I say, "Yeah." So, sometimes I am a little bit more enthusiastic. I sound a bit more animated than other times. The thing is, I was watching, well, listening and watching, because I was listening to what the person was saying on YouTube. There was this lady. She was doing a YouTube video on how to make meditative videos. That wasn't what she does. She does like how to make money and how to be a millionaire and all that. There's a lot of those on YouTube. And it was quite weird because everything she was using was trial. She didn't even pay for anything. And it's like, well, if I use this regularly, well, pay for it then. If you're trying to teach people to be rich, pay the $10 a month for that software. But no, using it as a trial. But I don't know. Just anyway, she sounded so monotone the way she was talking, and I thought she'd be ideal to be making like a boring recording. But then I thought, I'll be honest, I had to turn it off. I couldn't listen to her because it was so monotone. And I know that I'm probably very monotone and got a very, very boring voice. But even that was too much, even for me. But to be honest, I don't listen to myself. I do when I'm talking, unless I put something in my ears, or there's a wax build up. And yeah, I'm a little bit too boring for myself. But I do occasionally listen to a podcast just to, I need to have the experience of lying down or listening to an hour of me talking. And I do it occasionally. I mean, very, very, very rarely. I listen to it kind of while I'm doing the editing, but I'm not listening to the whole hour, if you know what I mean. I've got certain techniques, but there are pauses with this. So I will be one of the few people on YouTube that actually talks with pauses and talks at, not only am I talking at human speed, I'm talking much slower than probably human speed, because I don't know, I imagine people have only been on YouTube for maybe, well, grown up on YouTube, not grown up on YouTube, but how would you grow up on YouTube? I was born on the internet. I was born on a server. I don't know. But I noticed right early on that people used to talk very fast. And although sometimes I can handle it because what they're talking about is interesting to me, and I want to learn what's being talked about, but that continuous no pauses, one sentence right into the next sentence, like it drains me a little bit because I can't keep up with it. I've clearly got a very slow brain, and not all the time. Yeah, so what was I talking about? So yeah, basically that's my microphone. Perhaps I should be a bit closer to it. I don't know. Perhaps I should have it a bit higher up. I'm not sure. Oh, I've got itchy thighs. Oh, my left knee feels nice. It doesn't. Well, it does, but that's not relevant. So I'm going to go and have another cup of tea. It's run out now. Well, it's not run out. There's tea in there, but it's cold. The warmth, the hot tea has run out. The cold tea's there, but the hot has run out, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it, really. I think I might have some tea cakes. It's good to celebrate. I like to celebrate with tea cakes sometimes. Toasted tea cakes. And that's what I'm going to do. So, that's it. So, if you like what I do, if you like these Let Me Bore You to Sleep, then just let me know. Because this is what I'm going to be doing from now on. I've been doing it for 5 years, but and they might last for more than an hour, because generally an hour is about the amount of time that I would talk. Sometimes a little bit less, often more, but I might end up doing 2 or 3 hours at a time. We'll see. But we'll see how it goes over time. So thank you everyone for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself. Remember to be gentle with yourself, because you deserve to be happy. Do something nice for yourself today. And it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to cost any money. Maybe just going for a walk. Maybe having a long bath. I mean, unless you've got a short bath, so you can't have a long bath. But, as in time rather than length. Eat something that you like. Phone someone up that you enjoy talking to. Just anything that can give you a sense of feeling nice. And I will be back again tomorrow with another exciting episode of Let Me Bore You to Sleep. I've been Jason Newland, and thank you for listening. Lots of love.